Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, just.j.c.
And it's Jay McDonald.
And we are back on the 1% podcast, episode 5.
Five.
'Cause-
We're positive.
yeah, last
It's
time.
episode 5.
Yeah. Last time we thought it was 3, but it was really 4. But here we are, episode 5. And in this video, we're going to talk about...
Some leading from the front, from the back, and following everywhere in between.
So we're going to touch on this subject. We have a laundry list of different things that we want to discuss. A lot of it's, I would guess, things that will help y'all, especially for those of you that are in a leadership position or looking to, better yourself, right? These are kind of topics that, we can talk about, share our experiences, and then hopefully give y'all some things to help you out in whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be in the military.
Could be anywhere.
Anywhere, because leadership isn't just a military thing.
Nah, I think it's a learned trait, but
yes, because even a lot of the stuff that we talk about in our courses that we have to take, they're like subjects or taught by individuals that are not in the military, like Simon Sinek. What was the other one in ALS? I forgot his name. Anyways, he's a civilian though, but he built a concept on leadership, and it's what's taught in our military school. So it's not just a military thing, but yeah, leading from the front, leading from the back,
and everywhere in between.
So we'll go into that. So what does that mean to you? Let's start with leading from the front.
Leading from the front, I believe leading from the front is being able to take people with you. So first, like we kind of talked about, is setting a standard, and then showing people that way, showing people how to take that path. I mean, for me at least, I have people in my career and just life in general that have like kind of given me and afforded me opportunities from their position being higher up than me.
Yep.
Whether it be sports or it be the military, people have what I would call put me on game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe it's a learned trait, because to get to that leadership position in general, I think you have to be selfish or self-full.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring people up with you is, I think, a learned trait. Yeah. What about you? What do you think about it?
Definitely. It's something that you can also get better at too.
Oh yeah.
Especially watching people. But I think from leading from the front, for me, I always go back to this picture that I saw when I was a young airman. It was a picture of it's a guy on a desk, and then he's like pointing forward.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And then the ones pulling the desk, it's like on wheels, are individuals. And right there is like a good example of not necessarily a leader, but a manager, right? Telling them, hey, go this way, go that way, whatever. And then leading from the front, or being an individual that leads from the front, is you're also directing which way to go, but you're out there in the nitty gritty, as I like to say it, with your people. Yep. Pulling with them, but also telling them direction. So that's something that always pops into my head, because as a young airman or just a young individual, we're still young, right?
Yeah.
But younger, you know what I mean? I always thought of people that I wanted to emulate. I'm like, dang, I want to be like this guy, And then there's also individuals that I was like, hey, I
don't want.
No. Like, that's definitely what I don't want to be like.
But even with that, though, like, there's something to learn from those people. You can apply that to your growth and being a leader, I believe.
Yep. Definitely. Like, especially when they give you such a big impact to where it's like, these are the things I'm never going to do. And I always think about, excuse me, I think about this example when I was a young airman, my first base. I had my first supervisor. He was horrible. So if he's watching this, I don't care.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'll rank you right now. You know what I mean? But anyways, this guy was horrible. Just talk crap, talk smack to me all the time. Just talk a bunch of beep to me for I don't know why. And I'm like, I'm looking up to you because this is my first experience with a supervisor in the military, in the Air Force, and here you are just talking crap all the time. So my view of the Air Force was kind of
skewed.
Yeah, it's kind of skewed. So I'm like, what is going on? So, this dude would like kind of try to flip that switch and try to like mentor me, but it's already kind of,
It's past that.
yeah, it's kind of tainted. So like whatever he said went through one ear at the other. But I do remember thinking to myself, like, when I get into a position, NCO or like a leader or someone that is a mentor, supervise somebody, I wasn't gonna do that. So
That's good.
yeah,
That's how you take from people, no matter what it is. There's a lesson
yes,
in everything, I believe.
oh yeah,
Like my last assignment, and it was on the last podcast I talked about. They really did me in.
yeah,
My
oh yeah,
homeboy
yeah,
really
yeah.
did me in. Like I took a lot from him, both in like his positive and the negative that I didn't like the stuff, how he went about things
Yeah.
wasn't the right way, but what he was doing was right. So I kind of like I molded it to my own because I could see that I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and kind of made it my own to get people to where they need to be. Because he got me where I needed to be,
Absolutely.
but it was just in my eyes the wrong way.
Yeah.
So
Leading from the front too. So we've given a lot of, I guess, not necessarily bad examples, but examples on the negative end. But what are some positive examples that you have, maybe through your career, about leading from the front?
I would say, so you would give me a second. What about you?
I got you. It was a Uno reverse.
Yeah,
reverse.
Cut this out.
Uno reverse. No, I got you. So I don't specifically recall hearing that phrase until my first deployment. Of course, I've known, I guess, what it was, but I never really heard leading from the front up until my first deployment. And it was, to me, it was coined by now Chief Master Sergeant Valdez, who at then was Senior Valdez, and he'd tell me like, "Man, you got to lead from the front, bro." I'm like, "I am." He's like, "No. He's like, you got to lead from the front." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, what am I doing wrong?" So I was a young staff, brand new, and as far as being a supervisor, and I had a bunch of people under me, a bunch of people who were also staffs.
Right.
So it kind of puts you in that weird, I guess, situation where you're in charge of people, but you're the same rank. And oftentimes, if you're a young staff, you're older too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I remember we were just getting slammed. We were working 12 plus hours, 6 days a week, and just getting slammed from the ops tempo of being deployed. And it was just weighing down on us. And on top of that, being a supervisor was weighing down on me. And I remember coming into work like stressed.
Right.
Like visually, like you could tell, like, dang, this boy is stressed. He tired, stressed.
Bro, we all been there.
Yeah. But like you could see it, and you can also like see it from the way I act and how excuse me, how I was operating in my workplace. So I remember I went to his office, and then he started talking to me, trying to put me on game. Like you said, he's like, you need to lead from the front. And I kind of got offended. I'm like, "What you mean, bro?" Like, I am. And he's like, no, here's what I mean. Here's a good example. Right now, you're stressed out. I'm like, yeah, everyone else and their mom, But he's like, but you're the NCOIC, non-commissioned officer in charge. I'm like, yeah. He's like, and you're stressed out. And I'm like, yes. Like, that's obvious, right? He's like, so if you're stressed out and you're going into the workplace and you're visually and visibly showing that you're stressed, what do you think's happening to your team? And I'm like, I don't know, like, they're getting stressed? He's like, yes. Why are they getting stressed? I'm like, because the work sucks, blase, blase, blase. And he's like, no. He's like, your energy is stressing them out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So it wasn't, clicking because I was young. And then he just looked at me. He's like, think about it. So if you see me coming into work and I'm your boss and I'm pissed off, stressed out, whatever it is, what's going to happen with y'all? And I'm like, we're probably going to be pissed off too. And he's like, do you know why? It's like, well, because you're the boss. Exactly. Yep. So then like I had like this epiphany, like I was like, oh shoot, that's what he meant by leading from the front. So yes, you're going to be stressed. You're going to have times where like, it's overwhelming, but also like if you're bringing that type of energy to your team, it's like, it's just going to, what's the word? It's like contagious. They're going to reciprocate the same type of energy.
Absolutely.
So that's when it clicked, leading from the front. Oh, okay. Here's what you mean. If I want to lead them to success, to not being so stressed, to not, being mad, then I, myself as the leader, have to be able to show it and
Very
do
true.
it. You know what I mean? So that's my example.
All right. So, I mean, with your example in my mind, as an airman, like a brand new airman, well, maybe I think I was a senior airman. I had just switched sections to go to, I went from cargo because I'm 2TO by trade, cargo into personal property.
Yeah.
And
so you lost my household goods, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. It's not us.
Yeah.
But then Master Sergeant Molina,
Uh-huh.
he would find the young, new, hungry airmen, and even if you weren't that hungry, he would still try and put you on game. But he would always give me life advice. But it wasn't like that old retired, like, oh, back in my day. No, he would just put me on game, like, for the future. I remember one time he was telling me about money. Yeah. And, like, as an airman, like, you hear it all the time, like, money this, money that.
Yeah.
And you need to save here. But the way he went about it was he told me how to do it, and he told me in what situations. And he kind of guided me. And every bit of information that he gave me, it was in that format. So I'm thankful for Master Sergeant Molina because he would always try and guide me. Because, I mean, he's a Master Sergeant. He's been in for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a senior airman. So he's kind of taking his lessons learned in life and putting that, like, giving that information to the masses of the younger individuals behind him. So I think, I've had good leaders throughout, but I think that's the one that sticks true. That's where I learned a lot.
And kind of with that, it's kind of like why we're doing this podcast too, you know?
Absolutely.
Literally, like, that same concept is that we're trying to give this information or just, like, getting y'all to think, you know, that these concepts, because if I would have understood a lot of these things that we talk about, especially in this podcast when I was, like, 18, 19, not saying that I'd be, like, light years ahead, but I would be a lot, I guess, sharper, like, more, how to say this, not gung-ho, you know what I mean, but, like, more high speed than I am now.
Absolutely.
Just because, like, the earlier that you learn these concepts and you're able to hone it and then kind of, like, build upon it, the better off you're going to be. And I don't understand why we don't teach a lot of this stuff at a younger, you know what I mean?
At a lower level.
Yeah,
We wait until, like,
ALS,
NCOA. When those concepts, because, like, no knock on our PME because we get a lot of information, a lot of good information that we wouldn't get in the outside. But I feel like it should come earlier.
Absolutely.
Like, the stuff you learn as a tech, you should be doing as a staff.
Yes.
So that NCOA should be as an NCO.
Yep.
NCOA. That's where you should be learning it.
Yep.
And ALS should be like maybe when you put on senior airman. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're able to supervise in
that role
at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but no knock. It is what it is, and it is the way it is. So, but I do agree. There's a lot of things like leadership wise that could help people become better leaders earlier on.
And I don't know about you, but as an MTI, all my trainees, especially the ones listening or watching, they know all these concepts. They're taught in BMT, which is kind of like crazy to think that like we're dropping this kind of level on them. But I have trainees that hit me up that have gone on their first deployment. They're getting achievement medals, freaking comms even.
Jeez.
They're killing it. Some are going for BTZ. Killing it. They're like, man, and they're like, sir, they give me a reporting statement, which is kind of funny. I'm like, all right, we don't do that here. Like that kinda, one scene in Wakanda.
Kind of like Chief.
Yeah. Hey, we don't do that here. And they just tell me like, I appreciate, all these things you taught us because it did apply. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So with that, we kind of covered leading from the front. So the next topic would be leading from the back or, leading from the rear. So what does that mean to you?
I think being able to step back, not step back in a sense that you're not there.
Yeah.
But kind of touched on it, allowing individuals to lead and give them opportunities. And I think that is huge in what we do as MTIs.
Oh, yeah.
Like
facts.
Because we're all NCOs, senior NCOs, and then obviously we have our higher leadership, top 4, top 5, whatever it may be. But I believe being able to step back and trust. I think trust is a huge thing
Mm-hmm.
in being able to step back as a leader, to allow your people to grow, because it can't necessarily grow if you're not allowing them to lead in the same way you would lead
Yeah.
in that position.
Yeah.
They may not do it the same way as you, but as a leader, being able to step back allows them that growth opportunity. And
To be able to learn. Yeah.
yeah, there's always room and time for feedback later on.
Yeah.
Or even on the spot if need be. But what about you?
I would say on that topic too, to add on to that, is that there have been times